lost all control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She caught me with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. And are we going to get a bunch of static or what are we getting? I don't even know. Nah, it sounds like it's going to be okay. Huh. I'm just looking at my mics are just clipping like something fierce. All right. I'm trying to keep it all tame for you guys. I don't know if the sound's coming through okay. But it's an ongoing issue with the portal and my sound levels keep jacking around. It's the trials of life for me. But I hope you guys are doing great. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of the show. It is Friday night. You've made it. The tough part's over. This is your weekend, I hope. Unless you got one of those other jobs where you get a weird weekend like Monday or Tuesday. And then if that's the case, like myself, I'm sorry to hear that. But welcome, everybody. This is our forum for all things paranormal. And if you want to be a part of tonight's show, please feel free and do so. You can be a part of the show by calling 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. That is the number for fun right here on the Paranormal Portal. So I hope you guys will use it. Call in and be a part of the discussion, especially, if you got something cool to share. That's always great. We've had a lot of great call-ins lately, and I've loved hearing from you guys, especially when we did Wednesday's show. Again, if you haven't heard Wednesday's show, you should go back and listen to it on our YouTube account. We had Mr. James Bobo Fay here on the show, and it was a great time. Great time. It was supposed to be 2 hours. Somehow, we ended up at 3 hours. I don't even know how. It was like, the shows always go fast, but man, whatever happened on Wednesday, I don't know. But suddenly I looked up, and it was way later than I was expecting. I think it was Don that said, geez, we've been at this for 3 hours. And I was like, what? It was crazy, but that's how it goes when you got a good show going. And every show's a good show. Don't get me wrong. Hello to everybody in the YouTube chat. Great to see all you guys coming in. And hello to all of you in the TFR chat. Great to see you guys. Over in TFR, we got Bam, Little Giant, Trudy Glenn, Rio, Onslow, Nightshade, Intelligent Individual, and Gentle Wolverine is over there. And then on our our YouTube so far. They're still piling in, but I'll try to get a list of who's here. We got Bomber, Cashew Gazoon Dites, Chris Jarvis, Digger Dog, E. Spears, Elaine Clifford, Gemini Moon, Great Lakes Sasquatch, Isaac Areola, Jenny Metz, Kirsten Lee, Kitty Honey, Les Hintz. What do we got? Lou the Good Dude, and the cat walking up here too. Awesome. Mary Bond, Murray Fisher, Onslow, Pappy Two Bears. How you guys all doing? Philip Blair, Portable Tree, Rhonda Montpedit. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Richard Elmore, Ruthie is here. Teresa Jewell, The Farm's here. And Scottish Wildman and YTFP Chris. Great to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Being a part of our journey tonight as we go through the wilds that are the Paranormal Portal. We just never know what we're going to get. A little staticky again. Hey, Farm, you want to do static control tonight? And if you're familiar with the show, you'll know that every time I do on the Friday, Saturday shows, we got three connections going on actively on the show. One is to the phone line, one is to the studio, one is to YouTube. And then, and for some reason, I get these static artifacts, and it has something to do with the sound connection. I'm not sure why or how, but that's how it works. If we don't get that cleared up, if you notice it happening all throughout the night, just imagine you're sitting by a nice flowing stream or something, or in the rain or whatever. I find that helps me cope with that. But it looks like Farm is here on the horn, so you're there, Farm?
Man, you called the farm. That's all you had to say.
You're our static control. I'm doing good, brother. Thanks for calling in and helping me. Because for some reason, again, after your calls or after a call, the static is way better. So you don't mind if I put you on hold, do you?
Not at all. I've noticed that, too. I'll leave this off hook, and you can just snag it whenever you need it.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Not a problem.
Very cool. Let's see how we help each other. This is a family here on the portal, ladies and gentlemen. But tonight we're going to go through a bunch of creature feature stuff. On Wednesday's show with Bobo, something came up, and that was the topic of Boggy Creek. And the movie, I've never seen it. And I felt a little ashamed. So in light of the fact that I haven't seen it, what I did is I found a little bit of information to cover about it, because according to Bobo, the events in the film are very closely matched to the alleged events that really happened there. And so I thought we'd read through that tonight and get an idea of what the legend of Boggy Creek is. Obviously, it has to do with a Sasquatch or some skunk ape or some variation of Bigfoot. But it sounds like a hell of a vicious thing, whatever it is. So I'm a little flipped out about it, but let's get into this and see what we find out. The article I found was coming from animalien.com, and I don't think I'm pronouncing that right, but that's as close as I can get it. So let's go into this. I'm going to put it up on screen for all of you there isn't really pictures, so I'm not going to worry about putting it up in the TFR chat, but this is again from the Legend of Boggy Creek. It has to do with the legend. It says, "The Monster of Boggy Creek, the real story of the Fouke Monster." It says, in the early 1970s, the small town of Fouke, Arkansas, and surrounding areas, including Miller County, played host to what witnesses described as a large hominid-like creature covered in long, dark hair. The creature was estimated by most eyewitnesses to be roughly 7 feet tall, with a weight of 250 to 300 pounds. That seems pretty light, but anyway. Some reports even added that the creature's chest was 3 feet in width. Later reports published in the 1980s suggested that the creature was much larger, roughly 10 feet tall, with an estimated weight of 800 pounds. Even that sounds pretty light to me. Some accounts of the Fouke monster suggest that the creature may have run on its haunches in a slouched posture, swinging its arms in a similar fashion to a monkey. The Fouke monster was reported to have a terrible odor and have bright red eyes the size of a silver dollar. The Fouke monster was given its name by Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily News journalist Jim Powell, who often reported on the creature between 1971 and 1974. Local legend has it that the creature can be traced back to sightings in 1946 in the region of Jonesville, which gave rise to its name, the Jonesville Monster. See, I was never even aware it had another name. Wow. Despite these earlier claims of sightings, the name folk monster stuck and is still widely used to this day to describe sightings of any large ape-like creatures spotted in the area of Fouke, Arkansas. The Fouke monster made headlines in 1971 when it reportedly attacked the home of Bobby Ford and his wife Elizabeth the night of May 1st. Ooh, I was like 2 years old then. Exactly. According to Elizabeth Ford, the creature, which at first she thought was a bear, reached through the screen window while she was sleeping on her couch. The creature was subsequently chased away by her husband upon returning from a hunting trip with his brother Don. Shortly after midnight on May 2nd, while Mr. Ford was standing on his porch, the creature reportedly returned and grabbed Bobby's shoulder, throwing him to the ground. Wow, that had to hurt. Mr. Ford managed to crawl free and was later treated at St. Michael Hospital in Texarkana for scratches across his back and a mild case of shock. The Fords claimed that during the encounter they fired several shots at the creature and believed that they actually hit the creature. However, no trace of blood was ever found. A search of the surrounding area failed to locate the creature, but did manage to locate several large three-toed footprints closer to the house, scratch marks on the porch, and some damage to a window on the house's siding. During the following months, sightings continued to be reported by local residents and tourists, including a sighting by Mr. D. Woods, his wife Wilma Woods, and Mrs. R. Sedgrass, who reported seeing an ape-like creature crossing Highway 71. Several footprints were also discovered during this time. The best known were discovered in a soybean field owned by local gas station operator Willie E. Smith. These prints were scrutinized by game warden Carl Gallion, who was unable to confirm or disprove their authenticity. Like the footprints found at the Ford residence, these prints seemed to indicate that the Fouke monster had only 3 toes. About a month after the incident at the Ford residence, Southern State College archaeologist Dr. Frank Schambagh, Schambagh, determined that the tracks were almost certainly a hoax, stating that the tracks could not be from a species of ape or ape man, as many of the witnesses claimed, due to the 3-toed nature of the tracks. All primates and hominids, both modern and historical, have 5 toes. In addition, Dr. Schambagh cited several other anomalies as part of his conclusion. He noted that the region had no history of primates, ruling out the possibility of the creature being the remnants of an indigenous species. Although all primates known to man are diurnal, meaning or being active in the daytime, the Fouke monster appeared to be nocturnal. Sightings of the Fouke monster during the early 1970s attracted interest from both tourists and hunters. A $1,090 bounty on the creature was offered up by Little Rock radio station KAAY. Several attempts were made to track the creature, including teams using scent dogs, but they were unable to locate the creature. The Fouke monster became so popular that in 1973, the story of Bobby Ford's encounter was turned into a semi-factual documentary-style horror film named The Legend of Boggy Creek. The movie played in drive-in theaters around the country and grossed over $22 million, making it the 7th highest grossing movie of that year. The movie was shot mostly on location in Fouke and nearby Texarkana, although some of the scenes were filmed in Shreveport, Louisiana. The Legend of Boggy Creek did so well that it spawned 2 additional movies about the Fouke monster. Return to Boggy Creek was filmed and released in 1977, and the movie had an entirely fictional plot and was not intended to be a sequel to The Legend of Boggy Creek. Yeah, why would anybody think it should be a sequel when the original is Legend of Boggy Creek and the sequel, or not sequel, is Return to Boggy Creek? Where would somebody get that idea? It's not intended to, but they definitely wanted to cash in on the legend. So it says started, but I think they mean starred. Dawn Wells as the mother of 3 children who became lost in the swamp. Dawn Wells, anybody familiar with Gilligan's Island, perhaps? Marianne? Who became lost in the swamp, huh? The other movie was filmed and released in 1985 titled The Barbaric Beast of Boggy Creek, Part 2. This film was written as a sequel to the first movie, The Legend of Boggy Creek, and starred Brian Lockhart, a University of Arkansas professor who leads a group of students into the swamps around Falk. Sightings of the Falk monster have been sporadic since the early 70s. In 1991, the creature was reportedly seen jumping from a bridge. Also in 1997 and 1998, there was a combined 40 reported sightings of the creature. A majority of Falk monster researchers believe that the creature may actually be the misidentification of a known cryptid, most likely Bigfoot. They just happened onto this idea? The biggest argument against the Bigfoot theory is that the Falk monster reportedly has 3 toes, whereas all known Bigfoot tracks have 5 toes. One theory put forward to explain the issue of toes states that the Falk monster is in fact a Bigfoot. However, due to the encroachment of mankind, the creature's migratory routes have been cut off. I don't know, not sure. It says the geographic isolation would lead the remaining Bigfoot in the area to be inbred as means to keep the population going. Science has proven that one of the first things to happen in an inbreeding population is the deformation and mutilation of fingers and toes. Hence, through the years, the Bigfoot population known as the Falk monster could, according to the theory, lose 2 of its toes, causing the 3-toed prints. Other researchers have noted similarities between sightings of the Falk monster and the Honey Island swamp monster reported to live in the swamps of Louisiana. Arkansas shares its southern border with Louisiana, and Falk is located very close to the southwest border of the 2 states. Tracks of the Honey Island swamp monster generally display the same 3-toed configuration seen in Falk monster tracks. A large number of researchers believe that Bigfoot is a migratory animal, so it is not too hard to imagine the population of Bigfoot cut off from the large migratory population would still migrate within a smaller area. And with the geographical distance between Arkansas and Louisiana being so small, it is not hard to theorize that these 2 creatures could be one and the same. Now, the interesting thing there is that I think Momo, and I'm not speaking of the internet's meme Momo thing that has that girl's face all stretched out with Photoshop or whatever the hell they used. I'm talking about the Missouri Monster from, I think that was from the 50s as well. But that could have been more like the 70s. But either way, there was a creature that appeared in Missouri, and I don't remember the exact location, but it was observed to be about 7 feet tall, hair covered, just like a big shag carpet, like a big sheepdog, but up on 2 legs. But huge. It was bipedal, but apparently the tracks for Momo were also 3-toed. So that is interesting. If that could be, if that is indeed due to inbreeding, could that be a part of the same breeding population, and therefore an anomaly that would leave 3 tracks as well? Now, I don't know much about inbreeding or what kind of genetic markers or damage that does, but I've heard jokes about it my whole life, but I don't know. Could that indeed make them have 3-toed prints? I guess maybe. I don't know. That's hard to say, but that is an interesting correlation that between, the Honey Island all the way to the Falk monster, all the way to Momo. Could there be a different or a variant of that line that would have 3 toes rather than 5? I don't know. I guess it's possible, ladies and gentlemen. I thought there was an argument though that inbreeding would in fact probably make more toes, not less. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but I've heard some discussion on that through the ages. But very interesting story. Again, apparently it's not really closely linked to that, but I don't know. It's still plenty creepy. Now from there, we're going to go into the Dogman. I got about 8 minutes. How long is this going to be? I don't think I can get through this in the 8 minutes that we got. This will be about a 5 minutes. Well, I guess I could do it. I could try. I don't want to rush through these things because I like to discuss them. So let's hold off on this one until we get back from our first break, which is encroaching rather quickly, as it were. We're moving through the night already, ladies and gentlemen. But if you got anything to say about the whole toe thing, please call in. Let me know. I see we have a call. So let's see what's going on here. And this is from area code 740. You're on the air.
Hey, Brent. It's Carrie Barath.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How was your birthday?
Aw, it was good. Thank you.
You're welcome. What's on your mind tonight?
That was so cool. Oh, well, it was really cool. I got my sticker yesterday, by the way, on my birthday. I was like, yay!
I saw that note. That was so cool. I'm so glad it made it. I'm sorry it took so long, but I'm glad you got it.
Oh, that's okay. No worries at all. Okay. Actually, that's cool because I wanted to tell you we have a food truck, my husband and I, and I have a really cool Bigfoot sticker on my food truck. And I'm trying to get local stories about Bigfoot, and I get some. But, yeah, so your sticker is going to go right next to my Bigfoot sticker on my food truck.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I should get one with get our logo up there.
We have it. What's that?
I should get one with our logo up there for you to put on the food truck. Free branding.
Yeah, I'll take whatever.
Okay, that's a deal.
Definitely.
I'll get one whipped up
I'll
for you.
talk about you whenever I get to see.
Aw, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have you seen the movie Legend of Boggy Creek?
So, no, I was going to tell you that too. I've never seen that. I've only fallen down the Bigfoot hole about a year ago now. I can't believe it's been that long, actually. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Talk Monster. I've only seen Harry and the Hendersons.
Well, I understand that's based on true events.
That was it. Growing up.
I'm just kidding, but I think...
Is it really?
No, I'm just kidding. Just a joke. Just a joke.
I believe anything. Come on.
What I was wondering is what got you interested in Bigfoot? What was it that made you take that trip?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, it really started kind of strange. I mean, the one thing that I really remember first watching was Todd Standing's documentary.
Sure.
And my kids thought I was crazy after that. I was like, you guys got to watch this. This is so cool. And they're like, what? And then my oldest was like, well, I believe Dogman more than I believe in Bigfoot. And I'm like, no. I knew you were getting ready to talk about that.
Yeah, it actually was. I think they're both out there. I think that they both are. I don't understand the Dogman, I guess, of the two because, again, and it's much like we were talking when Bobo was on, and I've mentioned this before too. It's this: there is a record of hominids, so it's believable to me, at least in terms of the evolution of species, if there is evolution, that there is branches that are similar and could be a great indicator of these things being very possible. The Dogman part is weird because it just kind of pop. It's just here, but it doesn't seem to have much basis. In what we understand of our natural history. But then again, I don't think we know even half of that. So there could very well be new things getting dug up any time where they would find a bipedal canid type being. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, that one really blew my mind. And then I was like, heck no. And then I live in Ohio, so...
Oh, God. You guys have so much going on there. Everything is in Ohio. You guys got the Grassman up there.
Yep. That's what I was getting ready to tell you. We have a Grassman burger after, finding out about Sasquatch. I was like, I got to get something to talk about at the food truck when I run into people, So we have a smoked burger, and it's got Italian slaw, which is vinegar-based slaw, and fresh cut French fries on top.
Oh, man.
So wow. The grass is like the slaw. It's green slaw, basically.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
So, yeah, it gets the conversation going.
So you have got some stories, though.
I do have a little bit. Well, I haven't seen Bigfoot, and you asked me what got me into him, and we have a campsite in West Virginia. It's about 4 hours from me, so it's kind of in the middle of West Virginia on the I'd say southeastern side of the Monongahela National Forest. It's right on the edge.
Okay.
So it's like beautiful. The place where I camp, there's tons of caves. There's the South Branch of the Potomac runs right there, right in front of our campsite. It's just beautiful. You have to see it someday. But so down there, we have a buddy down there, and he's been going down there for years. And he always says off things about stuff, and he got me onto the Bigfoot subject, actually, and just kind of saying weird things about Bigfoot being down there, and he calls him George, and go up on the mountain and meditate and see what happens. He said one time. It was really weird. And after that, I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole and started to find out more and more, and realized that I probably had some Bigfoot experiences, but didn't realize it because I didn't know.
Yeah. Yep.
So down there, like a couple years ago, my friend and I were hiking, and there's a natural animal trail that goes up the mountain, and then it veers off and goes around to a rock face where you can't see that natural animal path. And we went around the rock face. We were there for only about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. And then went back around to the natural animal path where we just were, and there was a teepee structure about knee high. It was about 8 or 10, 12 sticks. Wow. I could kick myself for not taking a picture of it because I take a picture of everything.
Wow.
But I was like, I didn't even know what to think about it. I was like, was that there? I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah, you think you'd probably
notice
it.
I'm sure we would have seen that.
Yeah. Wow,
so
that's cool.
I never knew what to think about that. That kind of really blew my mind. And then after finding out about Bigfoot, I thought, well, And then other strange things, like my husband and my kids had a rock toss a couple months ago.
Ooh, nice.
Right in that area. Yeah. Jeez. And they got the feeling. And I have a possible Bigfoot print right in that area.
Nice.
I think I sent that. Did I send it to you?
I'm
not sure, but it is possible.
Okay. That's cool.
There's a natural spring that comes down at the bottom of that mountain. Maybe I've been having trouble mailing things out when I have an attachment.
Sure.
I have a really big problem with computers. So anyways, I do have a picture of that footprint.
Okay. Yeah. It does sound familiar. I'm sure. I do believe I did receive that. So don't beat yourself up too hard.
Well, anyways, and then I remembered another wet footprint that I had thought was a bear footprint that I had taken 2 years ago, right in that same spot.
Wow.
And I sent it to Old Bear, actually, here on YouTube, because he's in the West Virginia area.
Oh, excellent.
He said it's possible it could be a juvenile Bigfoot print. So
very cool. Well, we're about to hit the break. There's the break, my lady. Thank you so much for calling in. It's great to hear from you.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our first break. It kind of snuck up on me, but we'll be right back with more of the Paranormal Portal. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome back to the show. We are still underway here on the Paranormal Portal. Hope you're hearing me okay. Everybody having a good time? I see your message, Chris. Yeah, we'll discuss that soon. But thank you. I'll I appreciate your willingness for sure. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are doing a creature feature tonight. It's a Friday creature feature. And what creature feature would be complete without the Bigfoot and Dogman? I don't know any, but we're going to do more Bigfoot for sure. But we're going to get into an article right now. A special thanks to Carrie for that call. Thank you so much. It's good to hear from you. Glad you got your sticker. And for those of the rest of you that won prizes in our last giveaway, that they should be there or almost there. So I hope you guys receive your prizes for the trivia that we did. I think we're going to do that again on Halloween night. So yeah, I hope you can be here. Hope you can be here Halloween night, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do more Paranormal Portal, paranormal trivia contests and giveaways. So hopefully you guys will be a part of that. But that'll be Halloween evening. No need to go out trick-or-treating. Just show up and we'll take care of you. All right. So let's see what we got here. I got an article to go through with you now that has to do with the Dogman, which is another big part of the creature feature. Can't have a creature feature without Dogman. All right, so let's get into this one. I'm going to put it on screen again. This doesn't really have any photos either, so it's not necessary to share the link around because it's all audio, but I'll put it on screen for those of you on YouTube. You can watch me read the text. It's visually enticing and entertaining, I think. I've been doing pretty good. I haven't beat up too many words tonight, so I'm on a roll. We'll see if I can keep that going. But let's see. Where are we at here? Where are we at? Here we are. Okay. All right. Now I'm thinking about three things at the same time. All right. So this is called The Lurking Dogman, Creepy Encounter with the Infamous Creature. Ugh, I tell you, of all the cryptids out there, I think this would be the one I really wouldn't want to see. Because even though, as when we had Vic Cundiff on, he said, look, they really don't go out of their way to hurt people. In fact, of all the reports that he's fielded, there's only a handful or less that he believes they were probably very legitimately attacked. But there could have been other parts to that or other things that had happened in that chain of events that, we don't know or maybe even the witnesses don't know. They just suddenly had something coming at them and going after them. And that's terrifying, of course. But it does seem that they like to posture. They like to intimidate the hell out of everyone. Minions being allowed. Sorry if you heard that scream. Actually, he's just being noisy. He's way in the other part of the house, but wow, kid has some lungs. So I'm not sure what causes them to want to do that. If it's a territorial thing, if it's just watch me scare the humans thing. Is it a counting coup kind of thing? Like Bear suggests that Bigfoot does the counting coup, and that is an old kind of bravery contest that was used by a lot of First Nations, that and others, not just First Nations, of course, but anytime the younger kids would get around, and I bet you won't go over there and touch that house that's haunted, and sure enough, that one of the kids will go do it because it's a challenge. Well, the Bear thinks that there's a strong possibility that, they don't have to be seen, obviously, and they usually go out of their way not to be seen. But he put forth the idea that maybe it's the juveniles that are doing a counting coup kind of thing, like watch how close I can walk to this car, and watch how I'll let them see me and see what happens. And it's perhaps, I mean, if these beings are as intelligent as us or in our neighborhood, then it seems likely that could be the case. That they could literally be needing that entertainment. I mean, how many sticks can you look at before you need something else to happen in your day? How many more? So I think that's a very strong possibility. Let me just check something here. I want to see if everything good. Oh my God. Well, a special thanks to Kirsten as well for the donation. And I see we just got another one. You guys are awesome. I got to look at this. Hold on. Let's see what happened. I missed something here, ladies and gentlemen. So let me scroll up and see what I missed. Big Rob. Oh, thank you. We love you too, Rob. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. We appreciate all of you guys, how you step up to help us here at the show. And the easiest way to help, watch the videos, share them to your social media if you don't mind. You can share these live streams to your social media if you think anybody on your pages might enjoy it. I'm absolutely fine with that. You don't need my permission. You're just going. It goes a long way in helping us to raise awareness about the Paranormal Portal, which is, of course, always an objective. But like the streams. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed, and that will help us as well. So there's many, many ways. And those of you who are able to, thank you so much for the kind monetary donations. They really do keep the lights on here and keep us going. So really, really appreciate that. But, if you can't give, don't feel bad. Just help any way you can. That's wonderful. It's just really amazing. So thank you guys for all the kindness, love, and support in however you're able to give it. It just means the world to us. It really does. All right, let me get back to the article. Wow. You guys blow me away. You really do. Okay, so this has to do with the Dogman. Again, maybe the Dogman is doing a counting coup kind of thing. Because they do posture. They do run up on people. They charge people. And they get really close. And they get really menacing. And then they normally just walk away. And, obviously they could destroy us without much, not even a stress. I mean, just one swipe of their paw would probably end anybody. I mean, they're just so huge and fast and cunning. And so maybe they're counting coup too. Maybe that's what's going on with them, that they get bored too. And they seem to share that same curiosity about what we're doing. They seem to watch what we're doing, just like the Bigfoot watch what we're doing. So let's see what this article says, though. This is The Lurking Dogman, Creepy Encounter with Infamous Creature. And this is from animalien.com. And let's see what it says. It says, thick trees surrounded the property where 7-year-old S. Costilla met the strange dog, a dog with red, glowing eyes. A dog that sometimes walks on 2 legs. Costilla lived in Romulus, Michigan, farmhouse with his mother, his uncle, and his mother's boyfriend. They raised chickens and rabbits with farm cats roaming the crumbling old barn on the small acreage, but it was the woods that separated the house from the nearby major road, woods that kept the house and the family hidden that marred Costilla's childhood. Marred, M-A-R-R-E-D, marred. I said it right. These woods harbored something dark, reports from the Shadows blog. Okay. We had this really strange dog creature that would hang around the property, Costilla said. I say dog creature because this thing was far too big and intelligent to be a stray dog. The dog, as big as a Great Dane, seemed to have the upper part of a German Shepherd and the lower parts a Doberman Pinscher. However, its eyes were what haunt Costilla. It had very pronounced red eyes. Costilla said, I'm not saying it was like a werewolf or a dogman, but it was very werewolf-like. Everyone who lived in the house actually saw the beast. The dog would frequently stalk the edge of the woods on our property in the day. Costilla said it seemed to have no fear at all. My uncle would yell at it or throw things toward it to try to scare it off, but it would simply rear up on its hind legs like a ram and charge at him for a short distance. The dog never reached Costilla's uncle or anyone else who lived in the house. However, it did reach other things on the farm. We would frequently find dead chickens or rabbits after thunderstorms. He said we knew it was that dog thing because it would leave huge paw prints in the mud and claw marks on the window ledges. The thing eventually turned its attention to the house. Sometimes we would find screens ripped from our screen doors and windows. Costilla said it would never outright attack us, but it did seem to enjoy taunting and harassing us. The taunting quickly became dangerous when the dog spoke. Wow. One summer night, my mom had left the window open in my bedroom to cool the room off so I could sleep, Costilla said. She was on her way to the bathroom and went by my room and heard me talking to someone. Stopping by her son's door well after his bedtime, she thought he was playing, and she opened the bedroom door, turned on the lights, and saw the dog. Oh, good Lord. That's horrible. When she opened the door, she saw me standing in my bed, and I had apparently wet my pajamas, and he said, I was talking towards the window. I wasn't screaming or freaking out, but seemed to be transfixed and talking in a low voice towards the window. Costilla didn't notice his mother, nor did he notice the tungsten light that had suddenly poured a yellow glow through the bedroom. His focus was on what was in the window. When she looked towards the window, the dog had its two front paws pushed through the screen and was looking through the window at us and making a low growl, Costilla said. Its eyes glared red. Costilla's mother threw the beer bottle she carried into the beast's face. Startled, it backed out of the window, and she slammed the window shut and closed the blinds. Wow. The dog thing's presence, however, was not gone. My mom told me about a week or so after that I acted very strange. He said, like the way the kid acted in a movie, The Shining. I would say things like, we don't want you here. Our ghosts are food. Or God thinks you're bad. The house cats would run terrified whenever Costilla entered the room for that time of madness. That wasn't the only thing wrong. For some reason, I would take sewing needles or anything sharp I could find and prick my fingers till they would bleed and then finger paint all over the walls with the blood. He said the house also had a very strong septic tank smell to it for a few days. Lights would burn out and pop, and weird things would just happen. 2 weeks after the dog tried to coax Costilla out of his room, it all stopped. My uncle was out back working on his truck when he saw the dog at the edge of the woods, making its way towards the rabbit pen. Costilla said at this point he was tired of dealing with it and went to the house to get his .22. Apparently he fired at it and hit it in the rear. The dog turned and ran into the woods, and we didn't see it anymore after that. And then everything cleared up. But the dog thing will be with him forever. I always recall its eyes, Costilla, now 40, said. You could see its eyes out in the woods sometimes at night. I have bad dreams about it from time to time. Now, that doesn't sound like a typical Dogman encounter at all, though. It sounds like, I don't know, almost like a demon dog or a devil dog kind of thing. I don't know. It's because there's the melding, of course, with the supernatural along with the apparently very physical. So is it a possessed thing? Is it potentially a skinwalker? Could that be what they were observing? Is that possible? Now, this came from, where was this again? I know I should know. Does it say? Romulus, Michigan. So I don't know if there are potentially skinwalkers up in Michigan or not. I don't know how widespread that phenomena is. Of course, I know it's very big around the Navajo reservations and along the south west of the country. But I don't know. Is it possible that this could be a skinwalker, and therefore it would seem to match up a lot more appropriately with the phenomena, in that skinwalkers are considered to be basically these evil witch doctors that can transform. Is this thing transforming and becoming something akin to a wolf dog? Maybe. If it was too big, Great Dane size, it's actually very possible, I guess. It doesn't say it had hands, and that's the other thing. Its front paws were on the windowsill. So, I mean, any description of the Dogman includes that it has really menacing fingers and hand with like talons on the end of the fingers. So that is interesting. Very interesting. So we will definitely, I think I've covered that story before on the show as I was reading it. It sounds familiar, and that's not uncommon. I mean, there's no one repository for things on the World Wide Web. They get copied all over the place. So sometimes we run into stories that we've repeated, and it's not intentionally, but it is a cool story. That's creepy as hell. I don't understand the phenomena of the glowing eyes. I guess that to me is, and it comes up in a lot. Glowing eyes comes up all the time, ladies and gentlemen. What is it that's making their eyes glow? What's going on there? I don't know. I really don't know. I see Bam's in there. Hey, Bam. Bam's always with us on the TFR chat. I like that. Good to see you. Good to see all the rest of you that are sticking in there. Trudy Glenn, Little Giant, Bam, Rio, Onslow, Nightshade. Thank you guys for being here. Yeah, that was the last one. Yep. So that's the kind of Dogman. Maybe it's more skinwalkery. I don't know. Is that a word? Walkery? I just make it up as I go, ladies and gentlemen. I don't always know what the hell I'm doing. Here's a kind of a different creature that we don't really ever cover, just because there's not much to go by in most cases. Most of these stories like this are relegated to folklore and fairy tale and such. I don't know. I'm not claiming that it couldn't be. There could be no such thing. I think that it's possible there could, knowing that we've only studied about 5% or no more than 5% of our oceans. There's probably a lot going on in our oceans that we don't know. But what I'm talking about, of course, is mermen or mermaids. The idea that there are these human hybrid aquatic beings that are swimming out in the oceans and stuff. And, the stories of them go obviously way back to antiquity. And granted, being on the oceans back in, the ancient days, you probably would go kind of mad because it was like forever to get anywhere. And you could be out in dead seas for months waiting for a wind to come, and so you probably do start hallucinating things in some cases. But are all of those cases wrong? For instance, there was the legend of these giant octopus. These were all just, oh man, that's just a fairy tale. That's just a sailor's tale to, just dramatize their experiences and stuff. But what happened? Well, we started to find actual samples of these giant octopus. And they were washing up after, major storms and such. And it's like suddenly, wow, there is giant octopus. Now, these old sailors, they had said for, centuries that there was these huge octopus creatures in the ocean, or squid, and they were large enough to pull down the boats. Well, the boats back then weren't like the Titanic. They were probably about the size of a school bus. And so when you look at a giant octopus in the water, yeah, it does look like it could pull down a school bus, A lot of those old ships weren't, they were big for the time, and you got to give our ancestors credit, man. They would they would ride to the moon on a freaking stick if they could. They were just bold and brave. I don't know. They were cut from a different metal than us, obviously, but yeah, they would go anywhere, and something if it floated, they'd give it a shot. And it's probably their bravery and courage that pushed us to, where we're at now. But yeah, it's crazy. So, the point being that obviously these legends were out there, that people believed there were these giant octopus. Now we find out there are giant octopus. There was something on one of the Discovery channels, whether it's Animal Planet or one of the other offshoots, but they did this mockumentary, and I don't know what the hell they were thinking when they were doing these. And they did several of them, but one of which was talking about the mermaids and the researcher and the amazing footage that they had found and stuff. And they didn't let anybody know it was not real. They didn't let anybody know anything. They just created this great big hype around the idea that there was now proof and footage of these mer people. And I watched it and I was like, what the hell? And I wasn't sure what to think. But after you look into it, the other one was about, what was it about? What the hell is that? There's those 5 hikers in Russia in the 50s or whatever that disappeared up in the Dyatlov Pass. That's what it was. Dyatlov Pass incident. There was a mockumentary done about that too. And it's like, what in the hell were they thinking? Well, the point being that there's still people that allegedly claim to see these things out there. Obviously we're not in the ocean very much, so I'm sure there's a lot going on that we don't know, but I don't think you can discard the claims outright either. So as it happens, we're about 6 minutes out of our break, so I won't be able to get through the article before the break, but we're going to go to our break in just a couple minutes here, and we'll dive into it. But, you think about all of the folklores and all the histories. So there was creatures all over the world. There's giants, there's fairies, there was unicorns, there were dragons, there were all these things. And could they all be based on some form of truth? Could they all be based on a fact? Now, there's many cultures, even still today, that swear the fairies are real. The fae are a very real thing. the elves are whether they're part of that or not. I don't know. Gnomes. Of course, we've had Robin Moonshadow on the show who's talked about gnomes, pukwudgies, the proto-pygmies and such. And just really, really fascinating stuff. But all of these legends seem to be built on a truth. And as fantastic and as far out as that seems, I really do believe that there's some nugget of truth to all of these things. It's just that we haven't found everything yet. We haven't discovered all of this stuff yet. I hope we will, though, because I think that, in looking forward, I think that's pretty amazing. Tonight, Paisley Wild, spaces between pagan talk and interests. Okay, so that's coming up on the spaces between. All right, thank you. Thank you, Julia. Appreciate that. Good to see you here, Julia. I didn't think you were in here before, but good to see you now. And lots of you here. Great to see all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here and being with us tonight. Again, as a special announcement, tune in on Halloween nights. We're going to do some giveaways and trivia and stuff. And I think even Julia will come and spend a little bit of time in the studio that night, but I have to coordinate that with her. She had mentioned it before. That's why I'm throwing it out there now live on the air. But we'll get her on the show as well. And Don, of course, will be here for a bit, and I'll be here. And we'll see what we can do. I'm not sure we're going to do a parathon, another marathon show, because I don't know. I don't sleep really well ever. And so I like hit a wall at about 1 o'clock now, where it's about 1 a.m. and all of a sudden it's like I've got like rubbed my eyeballs down with glue or something. My eyes just don't want to work. And so I'm thinking, God, I don't know if I can do a parathon. Like last year we pulled one off, but my sleeping has just been horrible since then. And so I don't know what's going on. Not saying it's impossible, but it's not likely we're going to do a marathon, but we will do a Halloween show get together and have as much fun as we're allowed to have. So, and I hope you guys will join us then on Halloween night right here on the Paranormal Portal. So yes, after the Paranormal Portal tonight comes the Spaces Between with Paisley Wild. She'll be following us right on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And if you're a YouTuber, you can check out her show at youtube.com/The Spaces Between. And then after that, World Bigfoot Radio comes up. So lots going on yet tonight. I forgot to give a shout out to the Freaky Friday guys. I know they had Naysay on there earlier today. So I hope you guys had a great show. Thank you so much. As always, it's a pleasure to follow you. Do roll call after the break. I guess I can do it again. I did one already, Aussie. I can't do roll calls all night. I don't know if we will or not. That's a lot of names. There's 82 people in here, so I don't know if I can roll call that many. But we'll see. But we got that article coming up about the Mer people after the break. And, of course, a lot more. We'll get into some BFRO reports of Bigfoot sightings. We'll get into whatever the hell else I can find to keep you thoroughly entertained throughout the course of our show. And just so you know, those of you that watch Wednesday's show, this next week we're going to port all of that show, the 3 hours, into podcasts and air those on our podcast, which can be found on iHeart, TuneIn, TalkStream, or iHeart, iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, Stitcher, Castbox, Google Play, and many, many, many more. But it's going to be in 3 installments through next week. So Sunday, the first hour will be released. Then probably Tuesday, the second hour, and then Thursday, the third hour. So we're going to release 3 podcasts next week. We had such a great time with that show. It was a great show. We had a lot of fun, and I know our podcast listeners are going to love it too. So if you want to hear it again and download it and take it with you, check out our podcast. It's on all the major platforms. This is not our podcast. A lot of people say, I loved your podcast last night when you did the Night Terrors. Well, no, that's our Google our YouTube show, rather. So the podcast is usually a different show completely, but we do every once in a while port over YouTube shows to the podcast if they were, exceptionally good. And we love to share both ways on that. So we are going to go to our break in just a minute here. What was I going to mention as well? There was one other thing I was going to try to remember to drop before the break, but I'm simply forgetting about it now. Let's see. No, I can't remember. I must be getting old. I swear to God. It's like either that or I'm somehow vitamin deficient in something here, because I feel like I'm turning into a politician here. I can't remember anything. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I hope you guys are all staying sane through this political season, by the way. I know it's just gotten absolutely maddening and nuts, and just try to find your sanity in it all. It's so much bizarre stuff going on out there right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not swaying your vote either way. Decide however you want to vote. But I think this is probably the single most important election in your lifetime that's happening right now. So I hope you guys all do get out and make your voice heard, however you make it heard, And, I think it's important. I don't usually get ever political on this show, but whatever's going on out there, man, it's got me a little stressed. So, all right, guys, love you, and we'll be back just after this next break. So don't go away. Hour break. Hour number 2 is coming up.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. Finished with my silence. I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness. Just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise. You're just another fucking mess. Taking off the slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed. I'm not wrong, you get. I'm not talking.
I suppose those of you on YouTube would like to hear something. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Yep, I'm still doing it. Still tripping all over myself here. But that's okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I can hear too. Sorry about that, guys. It was just the bumper from the network, but you got to sit here and watch me stare around my room waiting for my cue to come in. But sorry you didn't get any sound. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hour number 2 is upon us here on the Paranormal Portal, and we are dealing with creature feature tonight. Lots of creatures in this world of ours, or in the world. I don't know if it's always our world or not, or if they come from somewhere else. I don't know. I'm just wondering. You have to let me know what you guys think. I think they probably do. A lot of them, I think, may exist here, and then a lot of them may exist somewhere else, but can come here. And I don't know how or by what machination or whatever the word should be used in that place, but I just don't think they're always here. Maybe that's the deal with the Dogman. Maybe that's why there's not a lot of fossil evidence leading up to what would be a Dogman. Maybe they're not from here, but they just visit. The more that I get into, kind of learning about alternate ideas about physics and quantum physics and stuff, the more I think that I think dimensional gateways are probably a lot more common than we think. I think that they naturally occur. When you consider a multiverse and each reality being like a bubble, and do those bubbles ever bump into each other? And maybe they do. I mean, all we can do is imagine it in a 3-dimensional space, but it stands to reason that I think even NASA, and however you feel about NASA is up to you, but they apparently have proven that there are these convergences or vortexes that appear in our upper atmosphere that lead to somewhere, and they're naturally occurring as a result of the solar winds hitting our atmosphere or something to that effect. Again, I'm just learning, so I'm not a source of great scientific knowledge when it comes to this stuff. Just had a comment in the TFR chat that I thought was good. It wasn't about the show. It was another conversation, but I would like to echo that person's statement. They said, hey, a person should not be using pre-owned board. And they're talking about a Ouija board. They would have to get it a good cleansing and release prior to use. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I would never recommend picking up a Ouija board or something at a garage sale or a second-hand shop unless you're pretty good at cleansing things. And even then, you never know. But I think that, I'm not a big naysayer about Ouija boards. No indirect inference to our good friend naysayer when I say that. But I think they're just a tool, but I think that they can have problems. And people can have problems using them, based on experience and stuff. There's a reason that there's a path for people to take as an initiate and an accolade and such in ritualistic kind of practices. There is a reason there's a pathway, and it's because you're dealing with a lot of energies and perhaps intelligences that exist beyond this plane, and maybe under it, maybe over it, but either way, you have to know how to handle that energy and how to channel it and how to control it. And so that's why they don't. That's why nobody. I don't know. That's just why it's a bad idea to pick up something you have no understanding of how to use, or very little. It's not a kid's game. I will always say that. It's not a children's game, even though it's marketed as 8 and up. Ages 8 and up. It's like, really? Go conjure your grandfather and tell him what you did. It's like, no, don't do that. Anyway, we got a lot of stuff to go here. Probably should cleanse a new one, too, if you must use it. Yeah, I guess it's not a bad idea. I think for the most part, the new ones are probably pretty benign, but maybe there's someone doing some wicked stuff on the top end of that, too. Maybe. I don't know. I guess it never hurts. It's probably a great idea to cleanse whatever you're going to use. If you're going to use it to try to summon or contact the other realms, then be careful. That's all I'm saying. Just be careful. All right, so we're going to get into that article that I just talked about prior to the break, which has to do with mermen. And this is kind of interesting because I don't really see these come up very often. But this is called the Man of the Caspian Sea, or the Man of the Sea, the Caspian Mermen. And I don't know. Let's have to see what this is. I haven't pre-read it. So we're going to be learning it together, folks. That's how we roll here on the portal. But it says, and again from animalien.com, I love this site, by the way. If you ever get a chance, go check out animalien.com. It's like Anam and then alien.com. A lot of great information and material there to look at and go through. If you're looking to learn or to have a better understanding of certain topics, it's really pretty comprehensive, so check it out. For several years, residents of coastal areas found around the southern and southwestern Caspian Sea have been reporting of an amphibious creature resembling a human being. In March 2005, a witness account from the crew of the Baku, an Azeri trawler, was published by an Iranian newspaper, Zindagi. The creature was swimming parallel course near the boat for a long time, said Gafar Gazanov, a captain of the ship. At the beginning, we thought it was a big fish, but then we spotted hair on the head of the monster, and his fins looked pretty strange. For the front part of his body, he was equipped with arms, said the captain. Back in Azerbaijan, nobody took this story seriously, and it sounded ridiculous to those who thought that the guy must have been drinking while on board. On the contrary, shortly after publication of his interview, the offices of the Iranian paper got flooded with numerous letters of the readers who claimed that the story was yet another piece of evidence proving the existence of the so-called man of the sea. The readers pointed out that many fishermen had reportedly seen the strange creature at sea and on shore after the seabed volcanoes in the area of the Bab Sara had come to life in February, and offshore oil production operations had intensified in the Caspian. All the witnesses' accounts provide a similar description of the mariner humanoid. His heights, I don't know what the hell this means. Somebody translate this for me. It gives it in centimeters, but what is 165 centimeters or 165 to 168 centimeters? What does it equal in feet? If somebody could let me know, I'd really appreciate it. He has a strong build, a protruding, it says a protruding CT-enoid stomach. I don't know what that word is. His feet are primped, and he has 4 webbed fingers on either of his hands. His skin is of a moonlight color. The hair on his head looks black and green. His arms and legs are shorter and heavier than those of a medium-built person. Apart from his fingernails, he has nails growing on the tip of his aquiline nose that look like a dolphin's beak. No information as to his ears. His eyes are large and orbital. The mouth of the creature is fairly large. His upper jaw is prognathic. I don't even know what these words mean. And his lower lip flows smoothly into his neck, and his chin is missing. Iranians dubbed the creature the Runa Shah, or master of the sea and rivers. The name is partly based on stories about large shoals of fish accompanying the creature at sea. Other stories refer to the waters that would turn crystal clear and stay that way for 2 or 3 days after the creature was seen swimming in those areas. Let's see. Fishermen claim that fish stay alive for a while in the net. Claim that fishes that stay alive for a while in the net can feel the creature coming out of the deep blue sea. Fishes were reportedly producing barely heard gurgling sounds as the monster came near. He was said to answer the call of the catch by making similar throaty sounds. Some researchers believe that there is no smoke without fire, and the stories circulating in Iran can be true. Besides, Runa Shah was seen by Azeri fishermen living in the villages located between the cities of Astara and Lenkoran. Okay. According to a theory, the creature is not alone. There's a family of underwater humans who are on a mission to tackle environmental problems in the Caspian. And I'm not chuckling because I think that's funny, but I mean, it's kind of wishful thinking, I think. I'm certain that if it's intelligent at all, yeah, it's going to be a little pissed about the way people are treating the oceans. But, is it going to become Captain Planet or Aquaman and deal with that? I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath. But the Caspian Runa Shah is not the only species of underwater humans on record. Both Herodotus and Plato believed that original human beings were amphibious and might have founded an underwater state. a book of collected scientific articles titled The Universe and Humankind that was published in St. Petersburg in 1905 contains a story of marine female caught in the Caribbean. It also has stories about dead bodies of the amphibious humans washed ashore in the Azores in 1876. Their descriptions largely correspond with the reported description of the Runa Shah. The amphibious human-like being was reported in Karelia in 1928. The creature was repeatedly seen in the lake of Vedlozero by local residents. A group of researchers from... Jeez, it just gets worse. These words get harder as I go. Zavadsk University arrived to investigate the case on location. Unfortunately, the findings were classified, and the members of the research party eventually perished in the gulag. Wow, somebody did not want them spreading stories. And if anybody is there, you're worried about a fatty liver, you could click on this. That's a sobering thought. Anyway, that's the story of the Runa Shah, this Caspian merman. It doesn't really sound... I mean, it does kind of sound man-like, but I don't know. That's really kind of freaky. You'd have to wonder, well, obviously they make reference to a breeding population. It's like, yeah, if they're there, they have to be able to procreate. I mean, I don't know. There's kind of a biological imperative that whatever's born is going to die. So, I don't know. Very interesting stuff. What do you guys think? Is there mermen and mermaids out there? Would you be interested in more of that kind of stories if I can find them? It's something that I don't touch on real often, but it's because, honestly, it's something you don't see very often. There's not a lot of these claims coming out anymore, but I don't know. I think it's very possible, perhaps even probable, because, again, there are claims of this stuff that go way back to, antiquity. They go way, way back. People talking about seeing these mermaids, mermen, sirens, etc. You fill in the words, and it seems to relate to an aquatic humanoid, and that's really creepy, and fine, I guess. I assume it must not be a horrible thing because, they're not attacking people, or if they are, they're really good at it because whoever they attack doesn't complain about it. So they might be really good at it. Again, with the lake monsters, with the unknown things that are in the oceans anyway, I guess a humanoid-looking fish person isn't that far out of base anyway. There's just so much we have to learn about our own world, both what we can physically see and find, and then you start looking at the possibility of other realities merging with ours, and it becomes even a bigger soup. According to Google, 168 centimeters is about 5.5 or 5.5 feet. So, okay. That's great. Thank you, Aussie. I appreciate that. That helps a ton. I just don't know what centimeters mean. I mean, I've seen centimeters on rulers and stuff, but when you start piling them up into the hundreds, I don't know where we're at anymore. I can work with about 10 of them, and then I'm lost. So, there you go. Yep. That was a good article, though. I think that was good. I hope you guys enjoyed that. But let me know if you guys like those kind of articles, too. Is that something you're interested in? And again, the phone lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to call in and be a part of the show, you've got an opinion of your own to share, please do. 720-923-0500. So there's a lot going on. But I always appreciate you guys' input because, I do work to try to tailor the show to what you guys find interesting. I sometimes go into zones that apparently only I'm interested in, but it's a listener show. So, I want you guys to be engaged in what we're doing. And if you've got an opinion on that, let me know. I think it's just neat to explore other possibilities, if you will. And I think there are a lot of possibilities. I don't think we even have a little bit of this stuff figured out for the most part. Granted, I know we've made lots of strides as beings and such, but there's another ape, but this is more. Oh, good Lord. There's a few things here, monster hunts. I had not heard of this one. Let's look at this one. This one is another one from animalien.com. It's Monster Hunt in Wisconsin. The Batman of Briggs Road. Batman. Let's see what it says. Most likely John Keel's paranormal classic, The Mothman Prophecies, will remain as the starting point for anyone interested in stories of the bat-winged flying beasts now commonly called Mothman or man-bats. While Keel tells the story of what happened in Point Pleasant, West Virginia in 1966 and 1967, the flying creatures that many consider to be an omen of death and destruction have been reported in many locations over the years. One of the best reports comes from La Crosse, Wisconsin. Now, I just grew up about an hour's drive north of La Crosse. It's like right on the Mississippi River, just below Winona. So I mean, it's right in my neck of the woods. I've not heard of any Batman, just for the record. I grew up there most of my life. As the story comes from Wisconsin, the case cannot be examined without reading the work of Linda Godfrey, best known for her writings on another Wisconsin creature called the Beast of Bray Road. Godfrey is, in my opinion, the expert in the world of Wisconsin strangeness. It is from Godfrey's work, as well as other sources, that the information in this story was gathered. Wow. Again, I'd not heard anything of any flying cryptids. The Tuesday, September 26, 2006. The two men are driving a familiar route on Briggs Road near La Crosse after practicing with their band. The men were Cherokee, a 53-year-old father named Wohal, and his 25-year-old son, whose identity has never been established. It's between 9:30 p.m. and 9:45 p.m. when Wohal, who was in the passenger seat of the truck, saw a massive flying beast flying straight towards the truck's windshield. Wohal's son also saw the man-bat and swerved the vehicle to avoid a collision. The move wasn't needed, as just before impacting the windshield, the man-bat zoomed straight up in the air, screaming as it disappeared into the night sky. Wohal described the Wisconsin man-bat as being dark-colored, 6 to 7 feet tall, with huge 10 to 12 feet bat-like wings and long arms. It doesn't seem like enough wingspan, does it? I don't know. Okay. He added that the flying oddity appeared to have a snarling appearance to its face. Yeah, maybe that's, oh my God, a truck's coming face. It may not have been snarling. It might have been the, oh my God, I'm going to die face. I don't know. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. Immediately after the encounter, both Wohal and his son became violently ill, and it took about a week before Wohal had fully recovered. The story of the Wisconsin man-bat is an interesting one. A man and his son encounter a bizarre creature whose existence would seem impossible on a routine trip home. They never saw it before or since, and the story appears to rely on the tale told by just one man, Wohal. Or I guess it's Wohali. Wohali. There were, however, other strange sightings in the La Crosse area at about the same time that may be related to the Wohali encounter. More man-bats. Details are sketchy, but on at least 2 occasions, people reported sighting of winged creatures near La Crosse. They share some similarities with the description of the man-bat given by Wohali in the first story, or the first of the secondary man-bat reports comes from a father and son searching for their lost dog. The two reportedly encountered a large brown winged beast, which they said had a reptilian appearance. The creature appeared to be covered with scales and kept its wings against its back. The father and son never saw the man-bat fly, as they quickly left the area. Good call. On another occasion, a game warden and men working on Highway 13 saw a massive flying creature overhead. Its huge wingspan and reptilian appearance was unlike anything they had seen before. The man-bat soon flew out of sight, leaving the witnesses stunned. What is or was the Wisconsin man-bat? The description of the man-bat are given by witnesses as accurate, which is always questionable. There is no known bird, bat, or other creature that match what the witnesses claim to have seen. As I said in the beginning of this post, any study of the subject of the Mothman man-bat begins with the Mothman prophecies. Perhaps John Keel's interpretation of the countless encounters with the strange he experienced over his lifetime provide an answer. Keel believed that many reports of the manbat and other mysterious creatures, as well as UFOs, were quite real, part of what Keel called the bigger or greater reality. He believed that the beasts are real, beings from another dimension or place, and that they have always been among us. Occasionally, when conditions are correct, Keel believed the otherworldly creatures were able to manifest themselves in our everyday world and disappear as quickly as they came. Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting point. And perhaps that's true. Perhaps that really is what can happen. Maybe they can't always be here. Maybe they can only be here when certain conditions are right, certain times of the year, perhaps. Maybe there's a schedule to the way these things open and close. And I've postulated that I think these doorways are very real and happen very naturally. But I think that they also, these other beings, be it Bigfoot, Dogman, or whatever, may have knowledge of these portals existing and can exploit them, much like a subway that a person in New York could just use. They just know, where's the train come? Where do I got to go to get to my location? Because I think these doorways maybe are almost like a respiration of sorts, like they open and close between dimensions, and perhaps these creatures that allegedly share an intelligence level with us are able to navigate those. Maybe it's just part of how they get around. Many, many reports of people seeing them disappear right in front of their eyes. What if they're not just disappearing? What if they're just going through a gateway and they just happen to be witnessed? And I kind of like that description best. And maybe it's my own arrogance, because it's hard to believe that these somewhat feral wild beings have a better understanding than we do. Maybe it's my own arrogance that really causes me problems with this. But it seems so much that they could command the forces of nature and disappear at will and reappear like wizards or something, Perhaps they just have a knowledge of these gateways and can navigate them just because it's part of their reality. And again, much the same way that we know how to get to the grocery store. We got to go on certain roads, or certain methods of travel that have to be met in order to go somewhere. And so perhaps that's how they do it. I don't know. Again, it's just my wild theories, but I got a ton of them because I've been reading things about this stuff for decades. And all I've got is a big trunk full of questions. So I always try to put those pieces together to see if I can make up any kind of reason or sense to it. And I don't claim to be right. So don't fire off a bunch of emails telling me how absolutely wrong I am, because I really don't know. And I'll be the first to tell you that. But there's got to be something to this. There's got to be something to this. Can all these other beings just utilize this extra superpower to go in and out of dimensional realities or phases or whatever? And yet we're kind of stuck here building cars and planes and stuff. I don't know. It's up to you to decide what's real for you, but I think it's interesting nonetheless. God, is it really? It's already almost break. Whoa, we only have one break left, ladies and gentlemen. We have 1.5 hours to go after this break, and it's a minute away, or actually about 30 seconds. So I just want to remind everybody to stay tuned if you're on TFR, iHeart. Tune in or TalkStream Live, because Paisley Wild will be coming up next with the spaces between. If you're not familiar with her show is basically her journey through esoteric learning and living and all that she loves to go over. Like, she's been covering the chakras a lot. She's been doing a whole bunch of talks on crystals and energy and all kinds of great information. And she's a wonderful person. So definitely check out her show, The Spaces Between, coming up next right here on TFR. Again, if you're on YouTube, you can find her on the Spaces Between channel. So hope you'll check that out. And then later, World Bigfoot Radio comes up. So lots still to happen here tonight. So, all right, we'll be right back in just a minute. One last break, and then the last half hour to go.
Discover the extraordinary.
right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 25 minutes of fun left to our show tonight. 25 minutes of fun. How do you like that? Hope you guys are enjoying the journey. Hey, there's Naysay now. I saw your message before, Naysay, and you're welcome, of course. It's always fun to let people know what's going on, and hope you guys had a good show over there. So, we are doing a creature feature tonight, talking about all kinds of strangeness, strange beings and such that are reported around the world. And of course, we've done kind of a Dogman. I'm not really sure that was a Dogman. I think it was more likely some kind of skinwalker or something else that's kind of dark and nefarious. And we've done one about the Falk monster, which is most probably a Bigfoot or some variation. And we've done mermen and Batman or manbats. And all kinds of other fun stuff. So we got a few more things I want to go through. I was going to read some BFRO reports. That was part of my agenda tonight because I think these are cool. I love hearing from people that are actually experiencing these things firsthand. I think that to me is a great thing, and there's no better witnesses anywhere. I mean, the people that are seeing this stuff are to me are the bread and butter of how we learn about them. And I know there's lots of people going out there looking and researching and stuff, but it's neat to hear the tales of people saying, look, I saw this. I don't know what to do with it, but this is what I saw. And generally you get something new every time from one of these witnesses. They'll say something. Like they see things. Every witness sees things just a little bit differently. And, what other people might not think to talk about, someone else will, and it really fills in a lot of blanks. I think that's hearing from witnesses, and it's my favorite thing on the show here too, is to talk to experiencers of the paranormal, because you guys are the ones that are seeing this stuff, and I've of course had a ton of my own experiences, good, bad, or otherwise. It's just been my experience. So I have my own personal experiences, but then to hear from yours is just amazing, and it really helps me understand what it is that I experienced, because I can listen to your stories, those of you who've chosen to share them with me, and really put a lot of things together that I wouldn't have been able to on my own. So it's just this body of knowledge that keeps growing, and it's really grows based upon the involvement of people willing to share. So if you would like to share some stories of your very own, by all means, you could call in if you want and be a part of tonight's show in the last half hour here. The phone number is 720-923-0500, 720-923-0500, or you can email the show, and that is at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. So again, paranormalportalradio@gmail.com is the email for the show. And you can also be a guest on the podcast if you got a few stories you'd like to share. I like having you guys on the podcast to be, experiencers and share your stories with the other listeners. Our podcast audience is just getting really pretty big, so it's pretty exciting stuff. And if you're not familiar with our podcast, please check it out. It's on all the major podcasting platforms: Pandora, Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Castbox, and a bunch of others. I can never remember. I mean, there's literally like 40 some networks that we're on currently. So that's a lot of platforms, but we're picking up a lot of interesting people. I've heard from a lot of interesting people. I stay in touch with a lot of the people that have been on the show, or at least as much as I can. I'm finding it, harder and harder to stay up with everything, but I'm doing the best I can. But yeah, there's lots to do. And if you're new to the show, we'd love if you become a part of the family. If we've earned your subscription, please hit that subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, that would be great, and ring the bell so you know when we're going live. But we do live shows on YouTube from Wednesday through Saturday, or Wednesday through Sunday rather. So I take Mondays and Tuesdays off just because I'm human and I need days. I'm human and I need rest. So all right, let's go through some BFRO reports here. Give me a state. Somebody give me a state that you want to hear about some Bigfoot reports in your area, and even a county if you have a county name. Wherever you guys are, I'd love to hear, and I will look through the BFRO here and we'll find something that's happened in your neck of the woods. Yeah, you're right, Bam. There's nothing like experiencing firsthand. And, there's the old adage, seeing is believing, or believing is seeing, or whatever. So, Wisconsin. Do you got a part of Wisconsin, Aaron? Give me a county, if you would, please. That'll help me narrow it down a little bit here. Wisconsin. All right, well, we'll just go with Wisconsin, I guess. Unless he types in a county. There's a lot of states coming up. I don't know how much time we got left, guys, but I'll do as best I can. We'll hit Oregon next. Okay, Justin? I think that was the next one after Wisconsin. California. California has everything going on, cha-cha. All right, let's look at Wisconsin first. And here in Wisconsin, did we get anything from Aaron? Taylor County. All right, let's see if there's nothing in Taylor County. What's close to you? How about we do, what's the most active county here? It looks like Marionette has 9 sightings that are recorded. Let's go to Marinette. All right, let's go to Marinette County. There's a Class A from November 2014. Class A's are my favorite because that's like sightings and seeing. Those are the strongest witness accounts, are usually the Class A's. It's a pretty quick one. It came from the fall of 2014 in the month of November. And it says the location details are Route 141 north into Marinette County to Pembine, Wisconsin. Nearest town is Pembine. And what they observed is my mom seen a creature she could not explain on our hunting property. It was crouched over. She said it turned to look at her, and then she knew it was no bear. She called me right away to come look, and when I looked at the spot, it looked like something had covered tracks. Other witnesses, too, only one of us seen it. It says they've heard animal calls. I've never heard that there was a supposed sighting, also by an ex-sheriff deputy, only about a mile away. So there is apparently a history there to that. But that's the first one, and that's a cool one. Not a lot going on there, but they saw something crouched over in the property, and he thought maybe it was burying its own tracks. Now, that's an interesting thing because, they are believed to do that, or at least to take really serious precautions to not be noticed. And certainly burying their tracks or covering their tracks is part of that. I can't remember who it was. It might even have been one of the channels out there, but I heard somebody talking about witnessing a Bigfoot, or at least I think it was a First Nations person that witnessed a Bigfoot walking along like a logging road, but it was carrying a big cedar branch, and it was dragging this big cedar branch behind it. And so, if you've been on a logging road, you know that they're just basically dirt roads. That's all they are. There's with lots of weeds and stuff growing in them, but there's certainly patches of loose dirt. And so what the person believed it was doing was carrying the cedar branch to drag behind it as it walked and therefore cover up its own prints. And you've got to think, my God, that's like some pretty intense reasoning going on there. Because when you think of a lot of other things, like a bear doesn't care if it's leaving tracks. The deer obviously don't care because they're leaving tracks everywhere. And, those lower mammals like that don't seem to have any cognizance of the fact that people may know that they were there because they're leaving footprints. But these Sasquatch apparently are witnessing the fact that people are following tracks. Now, here's the thing. I think these Sasquatch, they know when we're in the woods. They know when we're there. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to go into any woodland anywhere in the United States and probably around the world and not be around something of the sort. And I think that they are very aware when we come into the neighborhood. The interesting thing is we were talking to Bobo on Wednesday. He was talking about visiting with the Clever Fellows over in Australia. And I had heard stories of the Clever Fellows having conversations with animals, like in-depth conversations, getting news of people on the other end of the continent. And it seems bizarre. It seems wild. Is that possible? But it's literally the Dr. Dolittle thing that these Clever Fellows are able to do. Now, this is a person that's trained their whole life to have these conversations with animals and to have apparently a dialogue, a language that they can share. Now, wouldn't the same be possible for a Bigfoot? I mean, this is an animal of or a being of intelligence that rivals our own and maybe even smarter than us. Who knows? I mean, I'm just throwing ideas out there, but would they not also be aware of the languages of the forest animals? could they not also communicate in that same way? So like, I mean, everybody knows, oh, the crows gave me away. They started calling when I came in. And then there's that. And maybe the Bigfoot recognized those sounds that animals make when someone's in the forest. But what if they're also having dialogue with these animals? Like, oh, you saw what? Okay, I'm going to go check it out. Is that possible? Because these are nearly as smart as us or as smart as us. So if clever fellas can do it, why couldn't these creatures do it, these beings? And I think they can. I really do. I think, people are reporting mind speak. They're reporting, that they're being talked to in their own heads by something that feels really foreign and weird, but it's a really powerful voice. And they oftentimes attribute it to Sasquatch, which they may or may not actually witness, but they may find signs of them being there. Well, again, is telepathy possible? Yeah, I think it is. I think we all are telepathic, but we just have to remember how to listen. Because our minds are so busy, we don't remember how to listen. What part of our brain needs to really be focused on to listen for that kind of dialogue? So I think it is possible that as soon as a person sets foot in the forest, there may not be a Bigfoot right there, but they're going to catch wind of it really quick. And it's not a physical observation or awareness. It's perhaps a communication. They just know the language of the forest. And so they know as soon as there's somebody in the forest that isn't normally there or shouldn't be there. And so they become aware of us and they watch us. They zoom in on us. They watch, they observe, they see what we're doing, and they can problem solve. So I think that they do. I think they know very well that they're leaving tracks and that people are following those tracks. So, they seem to know what guns are. They seem to know a lot about us. So that doesn't surprise me even a little. All right, there's another one from April of 2013 in that same area. I'll read this one and then we'll go on to the next state, which was, I forgot, but I'll remember in just a second. So this one comes from the Mermen County again. It's a pretty busy place. This is April of 2013, and it says, I was leaving my cabin, heading back to the Pembin area to Green Bay as I rounded a corner and headed south on County Road 00. Okay. I saw a figure crossing the road. It walked slowly from east to west as though not in any hurry. I viewed it from the area just above the elbow up. It had a pointed head, very broad shoulders, and very large biceps. I could see the arms swinged as it walked, just as a human would do. Its color was brown, a mix of dark and light brown with the sun shining off of it. It was not black. I sped up to get a good look at it, and it was gone. I stopped where I saw it cross and looked to the east. The area was open with scrub brush, and its color would have blended in perfect with the surrounding area. It was early spring, and there were no leaves on the trees. I could only see to the hills, and it would have to have gone 100 to 150 yards down then up to not be seen. I've seen deer, bear, wolves, etc. in the area, and none of them walk upright. I also noticed when I stopped to get a good look, it was not to be seen. It couldn't have walked that far in such a short time. It had to be hiding on me. And there was no other witness to that. But that's really interesting. Again, there's that weird behavior. Why? I mean, if you're ever out in the woods, ladies and gentlemen, and you're in a car or you're sitting in a quiet place and you're anywhere near a road, you can hear a car coming literally from miles away. Like if you get tuned into the sound, as soon as a car enters that road or anywhere in a distance, quite a huge distance, you can hear that car coming. And so this thing obviously knew there was a car coming, but it still chose to be seen. I mean, it had to have chose to be seen. So that again goes back to, is that the counting coup that Bear was talking about when he was on the show? Maybe it is. Excuse me. Got better. I got better. But are they counting coup on us? Are they doing these little challenges? Was there more than one? That's the other part. If you see one, you can almost bank on the fact there's at least one more somewhere you're not seeing. And so that's why I would always caution people against, trying to act aggressively towards them, because you're only dealing with the one you're seeing. You're not aware of the 1, 2, or 3 other ones that are watching you. And maybe the other part of it is maybe they choose to be seen because they're trying to draw a person away from an area where there's a more vulnerable type of Bigfoot. Maybe there's a small one in another area and they're trying to draw you away. So they make themselves painfully obvious because they want you to go check it out. That could be it. I mean, it could be just a bait and switch. And then, the other adult could go in behind and grab the little baby one that's maybe sitting in a safe spot until you got too close. But I think they definitely choose to be seen. They aren't just, oops, you got me. Especially in a situation like that. Clackamas County, Oregon. Okay, there we go. Let's check this out. I'll check it out. I promise. Let's see, United States. Let's go to Oregon. Oregon. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to open a new tab so I don't lose it. Clackamas. Okay. God, there's a lot going on in Clackamas. There's 27 reports on the BFRO page for Clackamas County. Okay, let's see what's going on there. Look for the type A's or the class A's. Here's a class A from 2008. Looks like the most recent sighting that's recorded here is June 2014 as a class B, but the class A is August 2008. And this isn't the only repository for people reporting, but it is one of the more popular. So this is summer of 2008, August 25th, Clackamas County, Oregon. The nearest town is Rhododendron, Oregon, and Highway 26 is the closest road. So on Monday, August 25th, at approximately 7:30 p.m., my friend and I were traveling westbound on Highway 26, approaching Rhododendron. We observed a car parked off the road in the east side emergency lane. The car in front of us pulled off abruptly, and we wondered if there was an accident or animal that had been hit by a car. So we proceeded slowly around the vehicle when an ape-like creature, approximately 6 feet tall, sprang from the woods. It crossed the road behind us and was nearly hit by another westbound car. We were approximately 10 feet from the creature. Oh my God. Which appeared to be standing somewhat erect. But when it ran with its hands on the ground like a monkey or a gorilla. We are sure that the others in the vehicles on the side of the road observed the same creature. We are surprised there are no recent reports from this sighting. And it said they also noticed the creature seemed to be extremely terrified. I suppose almost being hit by a car would... Maybe it was already almost hit by a car. Who knows? I don't know. It's not that they couldn't be confused. And if it's only, how tall did they say it was? 6 feet tall. That's a pretty young one. So I can imagine that could be a case where it was just wrong place, wrong time. I'm sure there's probably others in the area still, but yeah, that's wild. A 6 foot Bigfoot is really very small, as we all know. I'm preaching to the choir here, but for a human being, that's a grown person, but in Bigfoot years, that's probably like 8. So that's pretty tiny, and I'm sure very young and inexperienced. So that's the first one. Let's see, how am I doing here? We got 7 minutes. Okay, 7 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen. God, it flies. Okay, here's the next, and this is August 2008 as well, in the same county, Clackamas. And it says, this is August 10th. It says, I'm a little fuzzy the exact details, but I do know that this is for location details. They took 224 through Estacada and continued east for at least another hour, and then ended up on, I believe, FR 43. So the nearest town was Estacada. Nearest road was FR 43. It's a pretty big report. This might be the rest of the show. Near the end of August this year, 2008, a couple of friends and I went camping / Bigfoot hunting around the upper Kawabash River in Oregon, Cascade Range east of Estacada, with the intentions of finding a spot I'd been told about by a guide on a whitewater rafting trip. I had taken with my brother in 2006. Unfortunately, when we got to our destination, I was the only one in our group that wanted to look for Bigfoot. Disappointed but not dissuaded, I tried to keep the rest of the group 2 guys and 1 girl, at least somewhat interested in the Bigfoot search, to little avail. The first night we camped under much protest, quite a way into the bush and away from the overcrowded camp grounds where everybody felt more comfortable. We followed an old logging road until it ended at a very secluded spot atop a ridge and maybe 250 to 350 yards directly south of a clear-cut power line running eastward, or east to west, sorry. The first night was interesting as we continued to hear distinct wood knocking, and they started at around 11 p.m. Most were far off and very fast, 4 to 7 quick, sharp cracks directly east of us that would echo across the valley, only to be answered from another location farther south and then north, but at first they were pretty far off. Everyone thought they were gunshots, but this was a really dark night, and these sounds were coming from pretty deep in the thick forest, accessed only by not well-traveled logging roads from at least 3 different sources. That, for the life of me, sounded like they were communicating, so I ruled out gunshots. These sounds continued to get closer to our campsite as the night wore on, and at one point, maybe 12:30 or 1 a.m., the group wanted to drive over to the power lines where the trees weren't so thick and you could see for several miles. I decided to stay at camp and hope for something to happen. Almost immediately after everyone left, I started hearing sticks breaking from the direction they had just driven out on, and everything got real quiet. Now I'm from Montana and have spent many a night camped alone in far more rugged mountains than this, and spent many a night camped alone and have experienced most of the wildlife, at least partially, up close and personal that our American forests have to offer. But I got to tell you, I got a little spooked when they were gone. I did what any self-respecting outdoors man would do and put a lot more wood on the fire. I didn't hear anything at that time. Well, that sounded too bizarre, but I was glad when everyone got back. My buddy asked me if I was knocking rocks together while they were gone. I told him I hadn't and asked what they had heard. He said that they were out looking in the valley from the top of the road, and we came in on about 250 to 350 yards away, and they all heard distinct knocking coming from the direction of our camp. He said it sounded like rock on rock, and later that afternoon, after everyone had gone to their tents, I again decided to stay up. At around 3:30 a.m., I heard a very low grumble with a huff, followed by what sounded like a lot of breath being pushed out and very close to the fire, maybe 30 feet. At first, I thought it was a bird or something. Then almost immediately, another answered at the first from across the clearing we were camped in. This is really big, one big jumble of words. It's not, there's no paragraphs at all. It's just one big jumble. So I'm like, sorry. And almost immediately another answered from the first from across the clearing we were camped in directly behind me. I put my flashlight on where I heard the sound coming from, and it would stop. 10 minutes later, it would start up again. I don't know why. I didn't get anyone to listen to with me, but I didn't. This went on for about an hour until the sun started to brighten up the sky, and you could see a lot better. I never heard walking or any more sticks breaking, but those grunting noises were definitely close, and there was at least 2 of whatever it was making them. It wasn't until on our way home that my buddy told me that he had heard the grunts too, and I love this. He was too scared to get up and investigate. The next day they went looking for another campground. I didn't want to leave, but I was definitely in the minority on the subject, and as we were driving down, I believe was FR 43, my buddy and I, in his rig and his friends behind us in theirs, something very big ran across the road about 150 yards in front of us. It was dark brown, black, and uniform in color, and at least 8 feet to 9 feet tall, and moving like a freight train. It was huge. We only saw it for maybe a second before it tore into the trees, running from the right to the left. My skeptical buddy looked at me and said, "Did you see that?" I had my video camera in my lap, but there was no way I could have gotten a shot of the thing. It was really moving. We stopped where we thought it crossed the road, and you could see quite a clearly where something had come through and it crossed the road, and you could see, I just repeated that sentence, something had come down the incline on the right side of the road, but we didn't smell anything. We got out, and I climbed the small incline that it had come down to investigate, and after 30 minutes or so, found a barefoot track 18 inches long. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. I'm sorry. I see I had calls too. Sorry about that, guys, but I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh. I'll be back tomorrow night with Don here on the Portal. Love you guys. Have a great night.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate.